Court calls the case, People versus Sky Jones. Oh, great. Just can't get a break.
Don't worry. No compelling or anything here.
Mr. Public Defender of Otello on behalf of Mr. Styron, who stands to my left. Well, let's talk to the judge about that. Right. We've been through this. Seems to be some confusion.
What's the confusion?
I've stated multiple times on the record that I wish to represent myself.
Well, I thought we got rid of that issue the last.
Yeah, I thought so too. I spoke to this gentleman right here and expressed my wish to represent myself as well.
All right. Well, if he doesn't want you, I mean, we'll figure that out in a moment. So, Mr. Styron, we're going to go through this again. What do we want to do in this case? You understand what you're charged with, sir?
So, I understand what the charges are against me. Yeah.
Okay, look, you're going to have to give me straightforward answers to my questions because I've got to make sure that you understand certain things. I got to do certain things here.
From my understanding,
you understand, first of all, that if you do indeed direct, you want to smile about it and laugh about it, take him back. We'll call him out later. Take it back. You keep laughing. You laugh one more time, that's 30 days. Go contempt. Look it up. State your name.
my name is Thomas Styron. Living man.
Mr. Styron, you are before the court. You have elected to represent yourself. I do have to advise you that you have 3 counts against you. The first count is that of fleeing and eluding 3rd degree under the motor vehicle code. Do you understand the nature of that charge, sir?
This is under the assumption that you're compelling me to identify as Thomas York Styron, the legal entity on this case.
I believe that you are. Do you understand the nature of the charge, sir?
I don't understand how the name you have on the case and who I am, it's 2 different people.
I have a complaint, Thomas Styron II. Do you understand that that individual is charged with fleeing and eluding 3rd degree?
So,
do you understand the nature of that charge? You just need to answer my question.
For the record,
take him back, and when he decides he wants to cooperate, we'll bring him back, maybe. I'm not threatening you. Say one more word, and that's 30 days. 30 days. Court calls the case, People versus Sky Jones. Oh, great. Just can't get a break.
Don't worry. No compelling or anything here.
Styron, you are before the court on a felony complaint that does allege count 1. And I'm going to presume, since you do not want to answer the court's questions, that you understand English and understand what I'm saying. You are before the court on 3 charges. Count 1 is the charge of fleeing and eluding 3rd degree. Under the Michigan Motor Vehicle Code, that is a felony punishable by up to 5 years incarceration or $1,000 fine plus court cost, and would require the Secretary of State to suspend your license for up to 1 year upon conviction. Count 2 is assaulting, resisting, and obstructing a police officer. That is a felony or high court misdemeanor punishable by up to 2 years incarceration and or a $2,000 fine plus court cost. Count 3 is a misdemeanor offense of operating with a license suspended, denied, and or revoked. That is a misdemeanor as indicated, punishable by up to 93 days, $500 fine plus court costs. Your vehicle could be subject to immobilization. Since you refused previously to answer my acknowledgement as to whether you understand that, I will assume that you understand what you're charged with. You are also entitled to be represented by counsel at this and all subsequent proceedings. If you could not afford to hire an attorney would be provided at public expense to represent you in this matter. You are entitled, as indicated, to be represented at this proceeding, all subsequent proceedings, including your preliminary examination, and if the matter were to proceed by trial, you would be entitled to counsel. It is, as we have gone through the previous proceedings, the court's understanding that you do not wish to be represented by counsel, and that this matter will then proceed forth with you representing yourself. I have to advise you that in representing yourself, the court will make the presumption that you understand the Michigan court rules, those regarding both procedure and those regarding evidence. The court will not be providing any legal assistance to you during the course of those proceedings and will hold you to the same standards that I would hold an attorney representing or practicing before this court. So, with all of that, and with the court's understanding that you do not want to be represented by counsel, I will set this matter for its next proceeding.
You understand I'm the beneficiary, not the trustee, right?
That will be the preliminary examination. I will set the preliminary examination. Has discovery been provided to the defendant?
Your Honor, he was previously represented by the public defender. I don't know if they turned over the paperwork to him.
Does anybody from the public defender's office know whether or not the defendant has been provided discovery? Mr. Odetella. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Your Honor, we have the discovery. I have not been able to share that discovery with Mr. Steyer, and I tried to speak with him and go over it, but I'd be happy to turn that over to him at the first available.
All right. If you would either turn that over to the court officer so that they can provide that to Mr. Steyer so that he has the discovery, and if you could do that today, I would appreciate it.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm setting the preliminary examination. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
The people would have their witnesses available June 11th. Set this matter for preliminary examination in person, June 11th, 2024, 9 a.m. That is before me. Defendant, as he was leaving the courtroom the last time, the court did find the defendant in contempt, sentenced him to 30 days. The defendant will serve that sentence. The court will sign the judgment of sentence regarding the contempt.
I don't understand how that's possible. Like I said, I'm
So first of all, watch your
language. You're
language.
treating me as if I'm the trustee, or I don't want to partake in any trust fraud or anything like that. Is this a cess QV trust matter? Involved in this? Is my social security number attached to this at all?
Mr. Styron, or whoever you wish to be addressed as, I'd suggest that you watch yourself because there's going to be more time coming. You keep it up. You will learn how to conduct yourself appropriately in these proceedings in this courtroom and before me. You will not in any manner whatsoever
You're trying to compel me to be somebody I'm not.
or this institution.
You have no evidence.
It will not
to prove that
happen.
who you say I am.
You will not talk to me in that fashion.
In what fashion? I'm not the one being unethical.
Very good. You'll serve the 30 days. We'll see. We'll see him on the 6th. Bond continued.
A tense and unusual courtroom confrontation unfolds when Thomas Styron appears before the judge facing several serious charges. From the very beginning of the hearing, it becomes clear that the case will not proceed in a typical manner. The court calls the case, expecting a routine discussion about representation and the charges against the defendant. However, the situation quickly turns complicated when the defendant insists that he wants to represent himself rather than continue with a court-appointed attorney. The judge notes that this issue had already been discussed previously and expresses frustration that the matter is being raised again, despite the judge's concerns. The defendant continues to insist that he wishes to proceed without legal counsel. The court begins asking a series of required questions to ensure that the defendant understands the legal consequences of representing himself. These questions are part of the formal process the court must follow before allowing someone to waive their right to an attorney, but instead of giving straightforward answers, The defendant begins responding in a confusing and confrontational manner. When the judge asks him to confirm his identity, the defendant identifies himself as a living man and claims that the name listed in the case documents refers to a different legal entity. This argument reflects a common tactic often used in so-called sovereign citizen-style defenses, where individuals attempt to separate themselves from the legal name used in official court records. The judge immediately recognizes the tactic and attempts to redirect the conversation back to the legal questions that must be answered for the record. However, the defendant refuses to cooperate fully, repeatedly insisting that the person named in the complaint is not actually him. As the exchange continues, tension in the courtroom rises. At one point, the defendant begins smiling and laughing, prompting the judge to issue a sharp warning. The judge makes it clear that disrespectful behavior in the courtroom will not be tolerated. When the defendant continues to behave in a dismissive manner, the judge threatens him with contempt of court, warning that further disruption could lead to immediate jail time. Despite the warnings, the defendant continues challenging the legitimacy of the charges and the authority of the court. The judge then formally outlines the 3 criminal charges the defendant is facing. The first charge is fleeing and eluding police in the 3rd degree, a felony under the Michigan Motor Vehicle Code that carries a potential penalty of up to 5 years in prison, along with fines and a mandatory driver's license suspension. The second charge is assaulting, resisting, or obstructing a police officer, another serious offense that can result in up to 2 years of incarceration and additional financial penalties. The third charge is a misdemeanor offense for operating a vehicle with a suspended or revoked license, which could lead to up to 93 days in jail, fines, and possible vehicle immobilization. Even as the judge carefully explains each charge and the potential consequences, the defendant continues to challenge the court's authority and refuses to acknowledge the legal framework of the proceedings. Because of this refusal, the judge decides to proceed under the assumption that the defendant understands the charges and is intentionally choosing not to answer the court's questions directly. The judge also explains the risks of self-representation, emphasizing that if the defendant chooses to represent himself, he will be held to the same legal standards as a licensed attorney. The court will not provide legal advice or assistance during the proceedings, and the defendant will be expected to follow all courtroom rules and procedures. Despite these warnings, the defendant maintains his decision to represent himself. The judge then schedules the next step in the case, a preliminary examination, where prosecutors will present evidence to determine whether the charges should proceed to trial. Before concluding the hearing, the court addresses another issue that occurred during the defendant's previous appearance. During that earlier proceeding, the defendant's disruptive conduct had already led the judge to find him in contempt of court. Because of that ruling, the judge orders the defendant to serve a 30-day jail sentence for contempt. Even after the sentence is announced, the defendant continues arguing with the judge, claiming that the court is misidentifying him and suggesting that the legal process involves some kind of fraudulent trust or misuse of his identity. The judge quickly shuts down these claims and warns the defendant that continued disrespect or refusal to follow courtroom rules will only lead to more severe consequences. By the end of the hearing, the courtroom confrontation has escalated far beyond a routine procedural discussion. What began as a simple question about legal representation turns into a dramatic clash between a defendant challenging the authority of the court and a judge determined to maintain order in the courtroom. The case now moves forward with the defendant representing himself, but with a 30-day contempt sentence already imposed, and the court making it clear that further disruptions will not be tolerated. In the end, the hearing serves as a powerful reminder that courtroom proceedings require respect, cooperation, and adherence to the law, and when those expectations are ignored, the consequences can be immediate and severe.